All right, hello everyone. This is the Immich team. I'm Jason and got Zach and Alex here with me. We're currently at the FUTO offices in Austin, Texas. And last time we were here, we had just joined FUTO, and that was a pretty big announcement. And we were able to kind of do a Q&A and answer a lot of questions. And we're here in the offices again, and a lot has happened since we last joined the company. And we thought we'd talk a little bit about some of the exciting things that have happened at Immich and some of the things that we have planned in the future going on. But maybe we'll just start with, like, of all the things that we've accomplished in the last year and a bit, like, what are some of the things you guys have been most excited about?
Well, I think the biggest thing is the structure and how we work, in a sense, right? Because we are transitioning from working on Immich as a hobby project into making it into our work project. So we cannot being reckless about like how we putting new things in or how we change things. We have to think more of long term on how we grow the project in a way that is maintainable. So I think a lot of the restructuring that you guys have done is make me excited the most because it helped the project. It's cleaning up a lot of the technical debt and also moving the project in a good place so that we can even build more things in the future. That's what made me excited.
Yeah, maybe I'll just say as well, one of the big things that's been different for me personally is that before joining FUTO, I was working on this in my free time for fun as a hobby, and it's been really fun to be able to work on it every day and get paid to do that. The only downside is it's like very fun and engaging, and it's hard to stop working on it. And like work hours, personal time, they kind of like merge together. And my wife will attest that it's sometimes difficult for me to disconnect. So for me personally, it's been exciting to work for FUTO full time, but it's also had some challenges about like trying to have some boundaries with how much time I spend working on the project.
Yeah, I definitely have the same problem as my partner will attest to.
But I think in the last year, I've gotten a lot better. Like, it's a bit easier to put the laptop down over the weekends and like not look at GitHub every 5 minutes over the weekends.
Yeah, I think my problem was mostly like the Discord, like always trying to keep on top of things, especially with being based in the UK. It's like most of the conversations that you guys are having are like in my evening. So if I don't read them, then I miss out on all those conversations. So I definitely got a lot better as well. I think I do manage to not open Discord some days on the weekends now, whereas it used to be like constant. But
I think we also find a pretty good time frame for the team to collaborate with each other, right? Even though the whole team scatter basically around the world with different time frame, but we have a set time that the whole team can come on and talk to each other every morning in that time frame. And I think it helps a lot with collaboration, even though we have a fully remote team.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. Originally, when we joined FUTO, the three of us joined as full-time employees. And since then, the team has grown a little bit. We've hired a few other people. So it's been fun to kind of see the project and the team grow as as time has passed and the project has gotten bigger and needed more support.
Yeah. And I would say I think we are really lucky in terms of hiring because the new team member that came on board basically has been working on Immich for a long time. So we know the capability, what's they're good at, the style of communication, so that it's like a very ease of transition into the team and continue working toward the project without a lot of training or things that you see in a traditional company or team.
yeah, like everyone we've hired for Immich itself has been a contributor beforehand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, for like an extended period of time too. So I feel like we kind of already knew them, and they were kind of in a similar situation to us where they were spending a decent amount of time working on Immich just on the side, and now they've just transitioned to being full time as well.
yeah, it is interesting coming from a normal company to something like this because usually when you hire someone, you end up with like 3 months where they're not particularly useful. Like they're just learning how everything's built and all that. With these,
Yeah, you got to get
like,
access control set
Yeah.
up and permissions and learn the code styles and the tools and everything. But
yeah, and with this method, you like everyone's working on it because they love the project already, and then they come on board and they already know how everything works. So
yeah, so they already know about the product itself. They already know
Yeah.
the team and the communication methods, and they already know the tools and technology. So yeah, they are pretty much just immediately impactful.
yeah, it's definitely interesting compared to a normal coming from a normal company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, this January, end of January, February, we were able to attend FOSDEM. So a few of us flew out to Brussels and we gave a presentation, lightning talk at FOSDEM. We were able to talk about the product and just kind of give a little overview about it. And then we had a booth and we gave out some merch and stickers and stuff. And while we were there, we met up with a few of the developers from the project. So it's kind of fun to meet. For me, it's the first time in person, a lot of these individuals just kind of like hang out and get to know, like put faces to some of the names that I see online all the time.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to meet everyone and be able to like have people come out and put them up in the house and everything. That was like great.
Yeah, it's also been a bit interesting as well because I've given a lot more presentations and conference talks
Yeah.
in the last year, a lot more in the last year than I have in like my entire life.
Had you ever done a live stream before joining?
I've never done a live stream. We've done 2 of those, right? We did one in FOSDEM for merch, and we did one for the release announcement.
I think we did 3.
Well, we did.
Yeah, and I
way
guess
before
the
that
South
for
by
the
we've done
South-
2
Q&A.
here.
Yeah, and I guess the South by Southwest talk was also streamed as
That's
well.
a 4.
Yeah.
'Cause I think we did 2. We did the original launch one here, and then we did a separate one here with Erin
Oh, yeah.
afterwards. And then we did the conference and and then we'll be doing another one tomorrow as well.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, it's
now,
kind of
now,
been...
now we've dated the video.
Now people know when we're filming.
But it has been interesting to be a part of the project, to see it grow and have opportunities to kind of go talk about it at other venues and meet some of the community members and also meet some of the developers and other people that use the project.
Yeah, I think one of the things that was really nice when we went to FOSDEM and did the talk there is just see how many people turned out to come to our talk. And I think when we asked when we were there how many people knew the project, and I think it was like 75% or something put their hands up, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It was great, and afterwards we chatted to some of them outside, and it was great to see how passionate some people are about Immich, just having that available to replace the app that shall not be named.
Yeah, and I think like Immich has always been pretty fast growing, but I think especially in the last years, like really picked up the user base and stuff. Like the social platforms have gotten more members, and our Discord server has gotten more and more members. So it's been fun to see the growth as well. Yeah, I think was it within this last year we released the like data.image.app website where we have like some public information about some of the growth metrics we track.
Yeah, like when we joined FUTO, we had like 31,000 stars on GitHub, and now we're at 73,000 almost,
Yeah.
So
which is
almost
crazy
double.
to see.
Should we talk a little bit about some of the work you've been doing to get ready for stable?
Sure.
Yeah.
Alex, what do you think has been one of the most difficult parts about getting Immich ready for stable release?
Everyone asking when stable release is coming.
That, and as a person who cares a lot about a project, I read a lot of the review and also the complaint from the user about all the aspect of the app. And what stand out the most to me is the fluid feeling of the mobile app when user use it. When you have a small set of photos and videos, it works pretty well. But once you start getting into Immich, you like it, and then you start to build your you start to use Immich as your photo management. You start creating albums. You start adding more and more photos from different sources that you have. The app kind of started to get a little bit janky, and sometimes it gets to the point that when you open the app, it takes maybe a minute or two until it's getting fluid again because of all the data sync that it was using. So it was the technical depth or the change in different envisions of how the app behave. Originally, it was designed to behave as a remote first, which means all the data will be fetched from the server. But as the user grow, we have more people asking to have offline functionality and to basically to have the app running faster. And those changes before we joining FUTO is kind of sure. Let's get that in. Let's get that working. So it wasn't really get a lot of eyes on it to have a proper data structure to have it run well. So it gets to the point that the thing people complain, the user complain the most is the mobile app that cannot be used. So I think that is the thing that hinder our ability to recommend Immich as a very good product that you should use. So we spend a lot of effort in that, right, to make it better.
Yeah, I think we've talked about before, like one of the things that sets Immich apart from a lot of like open source applications is just the fact that it has a mobile app and that it works pretty well. So people are drawn to it because of that. And yeah, it definitely has had some limitations with how well it works, especially once you get past like a few thousand pictures. Yes, and we have seen people with much more than a few thousand pictures. So
Yeah, I think we've seen people with over 5 million photos, which is just insane.
Yeah, or like hundreds of gigabytes of iCloud photos, and like, yes,
Yeah.
we have seen very clearly where all the limitations are to the current version of the mobile app and stuff like that. So I think mobile app development is also just generally more difficult to do. There's definitely less experience on the team with mobile development, and there's less outside contributors as well with mobile development experience. So in general, it seems like it's a bit more of a niche area. But then also, yeah, like the client server relationship makes it harder to make it work offline. And like, yeah, I think we ran into issues basically with like the current design did not scale past a certain point. And if you needed the app to scale past that, there needed to be a big redesign. I feel like that has made it a lot more complicated to resolve those issues and taken a lot of time to redesign it.
Yeah, so the app now with the new timeline is significantly better.
Yeah.
There's no like jankiness when things are updating. When you open the app, like you see your new photos within like a second. It doesn't take like 30 seconds for things to show up and in the wrong date groups, and then it gets into the right date groups and all that kind of stuff that was kind of not great is now there. But yeah, so it updates the remote really fast, like anything that's added to the server, any changes that are made, it pulls down quickly, and it only pulls down the stuff that's changed now. That was one of the major problems with the old version, is it would pull down everything every time it made an update, especially the albums page, which was a like big source of complaints. Like every time there was a change, it had to download every album and every asset in the albums. So yeah, that's all sorted now.
Yeah, I think definitely when we're talking about stable, you can't really avoid talking about some of the complexities in the mobile app. And that's mainly what we've been focused on. But also there's issues with the idea of like breaking changes. I feel like that's a whole topic. We can maybe talk a little bit about like what exactly does a stable release mean in terms of breaking changes with our release schedule and versioning.
Yeah, so I think stable release in general means different things to different people.
It definitely means different things to different Immich users.
Yeah, and I think to us as well. So I think for us, stability is kind of like the app works well, the web, all of it works well and fluently. Like we have more of a focus on fixing the bugs that come up. But also, I think for the community, one of the biggest things is they want to just auto-update their installation and not have to worry about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is one of the major things that we get complaints about right now, is that we don't follow semantic versioning. So yeah,
Thanks to me.
after we go stable with version whatever we decide to call it, 2, 3, 20, we'll use semantic versioning, and any breaking changes will be a major release. So people can run auto updates and hopefully not have their instances breaking on them.
Yeah, one of the things that I didn't realize, but it's actually kind of complicated and annoying to work around, is the fact that we don't control when the server updates, and we also don't control when the mobile app updates. Those can update automatically at different times, and so there's some assumptions you can't make. Like the newest version of the app may or may not be running against the newest version of the server, and vice versa. And so that makes it a bit more difficult to make things compatible. And yeah, in the future, the goal is to have more stability and compatible versioning that lets the user predictably know, when things are going to work and when things are going to need to be updated.
Yeah, one of the tricky things about, self-hosting an application that have a mobile app on both Android and iOS, you still running into the issue of iOS doesn't let you, stop auto update for one app or let you silo the app, right? So if we push out a major release, the user still have to somehow keep up with that to be able to run the instance. So I guess this is just a landscaping of the ecosystem, the way that big tech is also handling those app distribution. So it's hard. It's hard to completely solve that issue on our own. So those are some expectation I think the user should also know about, like the server and the mobile app compatibility. But what we can guarantee is that within the major release, it should work. So you don't have a lot of the burden of keeping it up to date until there is a major release happen. Right. So it should work between a minor release.
Yeah, I think right now we support new app with old server, right? If you just don't update the server until the apps are all updated for your users. I think we're looking at adding something into the user, like the admin panel, to see what version your users are using. I think that will come at some point, and then that will let you be more informed. But yeah, I think once we go to stable, everything should work within the major release, because there shouldn't be any massive changes that cause breakages.
Mm-hmm.
And if there are, it should be a major release.
Yeah, and I think we can do a step ahead of this is if we have a major release, we can have an announcement maybe a week in advance or so that people can plan the update.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for me, I guess pre-stable, we're much more willing to make these types of changes just because it's less work on our part and it's easier to get things done and moving forward. But after a stable release, we have a commitment to stability and compatibility, and so we're going to take those types of decisions with a lot more weight. They will still happen, but they should be less frequent and should be easier to navigate.
Yeah, and to speak on a little why we make those changes now is there's a lot of stuff, like even though Immich is actually in the space like a reasonably new project, there's still a lot of things that were done before we had the experience to know that it should be done a different way. So we're kind of correcting a lot of those things that were previously done to make them proper, to make them how they should be. And doing that before we go stable is pretty important because, we don't want to be making those big changes afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have also been pretty surprised like how big the like community around Immich has grown, especially with like tools and stuff. Like it seems like every other day there's some auto album creating tool or some like other metadata editing integration, or there's a bunch of cool projects outside of kind of the Immich core product itself that rely on APIs and particular way things in Immich work to continue to work. Yeah, and every time we make breaking changes, like it may or may not affect those tools. So having so many projects, it becomes even more important for us to be clear and communicative about what's changing and not randomly breaking some third-party integration.
Yeah, we have to keep the wife approval factor up.
Always. Should we talk? Let's talk maybe a little bit about what are some of the things we're excited to work on, like post-stable. We've spent a lot of time working towards stable, and I think personally a lot of these things are not particularly fun or exciting. Some of it's kind of the grunge work.
Very challenging as well.
Yeah, it's like complicated kind of grunge work. It's important, but not super. It's not fun as building like new features, right? So now that we're like post-stable, what are some of the things you guys are looking forward to working on?
To me, it's the workflow, because it's opened up the vast possibility of adding new tools, adding new logic into Immich without the burden of us having to actually writing the logic. So all the pieces would be like Lego piece that people can put together to fit their workflow, because we have so many different workflows from so many different use case. People coming from Lightroom, from DigiCam, that they have their own editing workflow. And we want to open up that those use case to those users. And I think it would make Immich a even more attractive photo management solution.
Yeah, I think even some of them aren't even complicated things. They're just things that maybe a lot of people wouldn't use.
Mm-hmm.
So adding the ability for anyone to basically build anything is extremely powerful. At least my vision of it is that we can basically have like fully external plugins at some point, so people can build actual external code that goes off and does things. So you could even have it call out to other services that you build an integration for.
Yeah, it is interesting because it originally started as kind of just like a replacement for another app that we don't name, but for a long time the primary goal has been like, let's give the users the features that most people use. Like, what's the most common use case, right? And we have like backup your pictures to the server and like create albums and share them with other users. That's like the primary use case that most people use. But like as Immich has gotten bigger, there's like a tail end of features that people are asking about. So there's like a never-ending list of kind of more and more niche features. And yeah, it's hard to address all of those, but we don't necessarily want to have too much code for things that not a lot of people are going to use. So yeah, I think plugins and workflows is kind of like our vision of a system that will enable users to kind of implement those things on their own without us having to manage specific implementations like that.
Mm-hmm. How about you?
What about you, Zach? What are you excited about post-stable?
Yeah, so I think obviously the one I'm going to be working on the most is going to be our like end-to-end encrypted backup solution, like our own cloud version.
Yeah, I think some people might have seen that, right? A little while ago, we posted a job posting for an end-to-end encrypted backup specialist. You want to maybe talk a little bit about the job posting and the status of that and kind of what that's going to turn into?
And what actually it is.
Yeah, so we're basically planning to build our own service with our own storage, and we'll offer, within Immich at least, it'll hopefully be a one-click solution to back up all your images and videos that you've got on your home server to a cloud that we run, all end-to-end encrypted, so that in the case that something terrible happens to your server, or you just accidentally delete stuff that you didn't mean to, you can recover them. And obviously other solutions for this kind of thing do exist, but we want it to be incredibly simple for anyone to use. We want to offer some things that other people don't, which we'll announce some other points. But I think the main thing that we've seen is a lot of people get into hosting Immich as the first thing they've self-hosted. So they don't really have some of the experience that you might want to have when you're dealing with things like your precious photos and videos. So if you're running this at home and you don't have that experience, maybe you're just running it on a single hard drive. What happens if that fails? And I think those people may not have the experience to set up backups and make sure they're working reliably and make sure they're able to restore in the future. So I think that's something that we're hoping to solve. And then in future, we want to expand that to more than just Immich. We want to make it easy for anyone self-hosting anything to use that solution. So yeah, that's the idea. And as we said, we did have a job posting for it, and we have hired someone. So we'll hopefully be starting work on that pretty soon. Yeah,
and we did get quite a few applicants to that. So thanks to everyone who posted it or applied to it. And
yeah, we all enjoyed talking to the applicants.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. There are a lot of people who applied who were obviously like passionate about Immich itself.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, it was great to talk to those people.
Not too long ago, but also this year, we released like automatic database backups. So like within Immich itself, every day automatically at midnight or so, it will dump the database. And I was surprised to see how soon that feature was actively being used.
I think it was literally like an hour after the release that someone accidentally corrupted their database and had to use the backup.
Yeah, they like lost something and they're like, how do I restore my like albums and stuff? And it's just like, well, is there a backups folder with the database dump in it? Like, oh, there is. Where did that come from? So
yeah, that was cool to see.
And I think I'll say too, even for myself, like I have technical expertise, obviously, as someone who's developing this product, but like I even myself do not really want to spend a lot of time on backups.
Yeah.
And like even for me, backups are hard and challenging. And I think if they're hard for me and I'm like extremely technical, like what hope for there is kind of an everyday user and the types of users that we're seeing run Immich with even less expertise. So yeah, I feel like we have noticed a definite hole in this space, especially the self-hosted space when it comes to easy integrated backup. So yeah, we're hoping to build out a service that makes it really easy for anyone to integrate.
If they choose to use it, so it's also helping to helping the product also grow and be sustained in the future without having a paywall on anything.
Yeah, and also to note, when we do build this out, we don't want to just lock this like one-click solution down to our own storage. So it may be more than one click because you'll need to set up your own S3 or something like that. But we do want to offer the ability to use another cloud if you choose to. Obviously, we hope you use ours because it helps the project. But
yeah, another option.
We never want to lock something down to just our solution.
Yeah, another thing is just it follows the FUTO core principles, right? It's not going to have like vendor lock-in. It's going to be like kind of self-hostable. Like you could host the server for this backup target in the future. Like the goal is to have it be open and compatible and then interoperable, just like a lot of the other software.
Yeah. Like for example, you can have your friend running this this application that we built at their house, and then you can also hook your Immich instant to backup in your friend's house, and also have an option to do it to the Immich cloud.
Yeah, I guess we haven't built it, and we can't commit to the features. But this is the goal we're aiming towards, is to have an open platform like this that is not locked down and proprietary or whatever. But
yeah, I think the feature you're referring to is like commonly called like a buddy backup. So yeah, that's something we do want to build, and it won't come in the first iteration of everything, but hopefully we will build out a solution so you can have a buddy backup and a backup in our cloud, and it all seamlessly works together. But yeah, I think outside of that, for image, it's like image features itself, like I would love to have the time to work on the federated albums and such. Like that for me is like was always like a post-stable task. Once the APIs are like set, we can finally come up with a federation solution, and that plays into the, like you were saying, having friends with image instances. Like right now, it's very difficult to share between them. So having something like federation would allow you to have an album on both instances that sync to each other, and they all have, you can access all of the images. So yeah, hopefully we can build something like that. It's just a little complicated.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just need an entire identity management solution.
Yeah, two of the things I'm excited to work on after the stable release is like groups and sharing within Immich. So like right now, if you make an album, you have to add a user to it, you share it with someone. If you have like a family, you have to share it with each of them. If someone leaves your family or you have different groups of friends you want to share different sets of albums with, it's like really annoying right now because you have to do it all on a per user basis. So I'm excited to try to work on like a group management solution, so you could add different sets of users to groups, and you can share albums with entire groups. And so if you add someone to the group, they'll just get immediate access to all the previously shared albums and some stuff like that. And then there's a related thing, which is like sharing facial recognition data and clustering of your and your spouse's pictures or stuff like that. Right now, everything is basically segmented to the user, and the only way to share is partner sharing, but that doesn't share your tags or the tagged people or a lot of that type of information. So we definitely have planned a lot of like sharing related rework to happen after the stable.
Yeah, sharing makes everything extremely
Yeah.
complicated.
Yeah, and I'm even like less excited since that means all of that has to be backported to the new sync implementation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
There's
that's
like a lot of
just-
complexity in the sync implementation around sharing specifically.
So I'm excited to work on sharing, and I'm less excited to make it work with the sync process, but
Yeah, so we'll just have sharing in the web only.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll do all the mobile stuff. You'll just get it to work on the mobile side, right?
For sure,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be fetching it from the server.
And around we go. The other thing, I guess, that I've been wanting to work on for a long time is like a new documentation website. So I already started building like next.image.app. So it's like a new version of the documentation that uses our UI elements and stuff. And I think it looks a bit more like personalized and custom. But yeah, it's been on the back burner while we finished a bunch of these stable tasks. So I'm kind of excited to get that wrapped up, and related to it, some new API documentation and some polishing up on that side. So
Yeah, I also wanted to build more features into viewing experience, basically making you, by somehow making you view the memory more impactful with more feeling in it. That's always my goal. Of when you drift out the memory lane, you weep.
Yeah, maybe that should be the new tagline. Image, it'll make you weep.
yeah, I think we've had some conversations about memories before, right? We talked about different types of memories and maybe even changing the viewer and how it works a little bit.
Mhm.
So
With some music and effect.
yeah, I mean, it is good to always go back to like the roots of Immich, right? Which is just like viewing your pictures and discovering your pictures from the past.
Yeah. The craziest thing to me about that kind of stuff is that actually you'd think that making the videos and all the audio sync and everything is the hard part. Actually, that part is quite simple, and there's lots of solutions for that. The hard part is finding the pictures that you actually want to see. Finding pictures that aren't just a picture of a receipt that you took on 2 years ago because you haven't gone and archived those. So you have to actually find pictures that people think are good. And how does a machine know that? So, yeah. Gotta
Ask Mart.
figure that out. Yeah. Not my problem.
You hear that, Mart? All right, so, well, now stable release is there. I think we can get back to focus on building features.
Yeah. I mean, we should probably fix some bugs as well.
Well, bug fix is always there, right? Bug squashing is the skill of every developer should have.
Yeah.
We need a little bit of a balance because I go a bit insane if I don't have little breaks to build fun things.
Yeah.
But I suppose you're
A little
right.
bit more insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all the time we have for today.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll have some new fun ways to deploy Immich soon.
Yep. Stay tuned. See ya.